Right, good morning, guys. Today, for our Science Friday experiment, we're going to be investigating paper helicopters. So you may have already made your paper helicopter if you've printed out and sent it. I also put a video in the Aladdin that you can make them yourselves. So let's just think a little bit about helicopters first. Okay, so first we're going to investigate how changing variables on a paper helicopter affects the speed at which it falls through the air. So we're trying to change it, whether we want to make it fall faster or slower. I'm going to leave that up to you. Okay, so let's think about these. Which of these is the odd one out? Think about it, and if you could put into this, I'd love if the people to maybe put some comments below which one they think is the odd one out. Write it down now, and in a second I'll give you what I think the answer is. Maybe you can come up with your own one. There's probably more than one answer here. Okay, well, I suppose if you made a comment, the obvious one is the parachute. Well, that's not powered by anything. Um, so obviously a helicopter and an airplane, they fly by using an engine. But another way to see this would be, well, the helicopter is actually the odd one out because both the parachute and the airplane work on the principle of gliding, so they can glide through the air. So that's what causes them to fly in such swooping directions. Whereas a helicopter uses helicopter blades to create downward force to push it up, which is different from the way that both parachutes and airplanes fly. So maybe that's one of the major things that separates the three here. Okay, there's no right and wrong answer, so you can think. So yeah, of course. Likewise here, that's a similar thing with these sugar gliders. They're also called flying squirrels. Again, I'd say they have the same principle of the difference between gliding and then generating uplift with a helicopter. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I wonder, could you tell me what's the difference between something that floats in the air, something that glides through the air, and something that flies through the air? I wonder, could you, again, if you can keep all this stuff kind of in one comment, it'd be really cool. I think it'd be a cool way to interact. So fire away with that now, please. You can write a definition that describes them. If you want to get your dictionary, by all means you can. But if you're not sure, if you're finding it hard to tell the difference between floating in the air and gliding in the air, by all means check a dictionary. Or I suppose you're probably in front of a computer or a tablet or a phone. You can always check on your phone. So how do you think a helicopter works? Well, essentially, there's propellers. Those propellers spin around, and as they spin through the air moves quicker under the helicopter blades than over the helicopter blades, and that creates a pushing force upwards, and that causes the helicopter to start to rise up. Obviously, the rear propeller isn't to do with flying up and down, but it's about banking left to right. So that's how the helicopter is steered. Okay. Have you seen any different types of helicopter? I'm sure we may have heard or seen some around here, but anyone who's maybe watched some videos or maybe movies might have seen different kinds. And what make them work better? Is there any way that they can be made to work better? So I'm going to link, if you're interested in how helicopters work and what changes people can make them to fly, I'll link another video in the description below as well, which I think is very good. Okay, so here I should be able to splice in a clip of me making the paper airplanes and showing you some descriptions of changes that you can make. So by all means, you should be looking at that now. Right, here is our paper airplane, our template that I sent you. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it out. So you guys can obviously be a lot neater than I will be, but I'm just doing it nice and quickly because I don't want you staring at a screen all day. So, once you've cut out the general outline of the shape, it should look a little something like that. We're going to, first off, put a line down for the helicopter, for the blades of the helicopter, and then we're going to make the stem. Okay, so that involves putting a little cut here, and here, and on the opposite side, here, and here. Then it's a simple act of just folding that in. I think I fold this too. I think you can cut it off, it doesn't really make a difference. And then the most important part, so then you just take a paper clip, steal one from one I made earlier. Take a paper clip and clip it closed. He said. Right. Clip it closed, and then the most important part is that you fold the wings in opposite directions. So how does this work? Well, what's happening is as you drop it, that thing we talked about, air resistance, is pushing up. And as it pushes this side up, and this it wants to go to the right, and as it pushes this side up, it wants to go to the left. And that's pushing it into a spiral, into a rotation that in theory is going to make it, well, when you drop it from a higher height, it will make it spin around. So this is our basic one from the template. But my experiment, that's grand, but there's not much science in that. Let's take a look at our experiment, okay? So I'm wondering, can you tell me what changes will make it fall faster or slower or spin faster? So there's our basic one. Obviously, it's really nice, guys. You can decorate the top, and particularly if you put spirals, it can look really, really cool as it's spinning around and around. So I'd love to see some really well decorated helicopters too. So what happens if it's big wing blades, but a small, I don't know, I'm going to call this the stem, okay, like the stem of a plant. Will that change how it falls? Maybe here's some other changes I made. So this one I've included much thinner stem. How will that affect it? Or maybe if you put holes in the propeller blades, or maybe change the shape, how will that affect it? Again, just a smaller one, smaller blades and smaller stem. Would that mean that the air resistance will be able to slow it down more and spin it more, giving it a slower descent? Maybe you can tell me. Yeah, so that's it, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing your experiment. Okay, so we should be back from that. And so here are some things. So these are the things you will need. You need stopwatch was one of the main things here. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand in the same spot, preferably somewhere high. I saw in our last egg drop experiment, I saw people drop them out the window. Please, please, please be careful if you're standing on anything or if you're up high. I don't want anyone to get hurt. If there's someone in your house that you can work with to work with the stopwatch, that'd be fantastic to compare times. So once you've dropped your helicopter, it's time to make a change. This is where the real experimenting begins. So things you can change is the length, the size or shape of the rotor blades. So would they fly better if they're more triangular? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Their weight, so could you add more paper clips to the bottom or something like that? The size of the helicopter, so does it spin faster if it's smaller? Can you think of any other changes you can make? So I'd love to see your experiments, guys. You can send them to me through Aladdin, I would imagine. And yeah, okay, so I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you soon, I think. And for those of you interested, our class is now tidy. I'm going to post a video on my experiment later. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.